Okay. Oh boy. Okay, let's see if this is actually working. All right. I'm not sure if we're actually live yet.
It seems like
there's a button that says we're live.
I'm actually a little bit out of practice on this, so I apologize.
No, but I think you are, because it says it's live.
It says so, yeah.
Well, what we have to do is double check on YouTube, because that's what.
Can Scott pop on and take a look?
Well, I'm doing it on my phone right now, so that should be the thing that that works. So I tell you what, give me just a second. And as far as I can tell, we shall find the truth in all of this, because the truth will out. It is exactly what we need to do. Okay.
I haven't had a haircut since November
Wow,
of
it's beautiful.
2019.
Wow.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe
it's
it.
It
true.
looks very Renaissance.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm very happy with it.
Oh my goodness, so many little details to get straight.
I know.
Sorry, I used to be really good at this.
Did you post the link somewhere? Because I was trying to look for it.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook feed.
Because I shared the post, but
yes. Yeah, so it's there, and it should be a link that is easy to get to. I have not done that really well. Here we go. Okay, come on, guys. All right, you see, I think we're not actually on YouTube yet.
No, strange, because it says live.
Well, that's on Zoom. So Zoom is pushing to YouTube, but I think I have a
YouTube isn't picking it up yet?
Correct.
Okay.
That is
You
my
have
issue.
to go, because I have to do the same thing today for the Dante Alighieri Society. Did you go on more and then you did on custom live streaming?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you have to go on YouTube and push and push the button live.
Yes. Yes.
Did you do that?
I thought I did.
It's strange that here it says that it's live, but
it is strange.
It doesn't say your.
Because mine says that too.
You know what? I think we are on. There's a serious delay.
That is totally normal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think the delay can be up to like 2 minutes. So
I agree with that. All right. Yeah, so we've had a nice warm up.
Okay.
Right, my friends. So let me formally kick off our panel discussion. So my friends, my name is Lara Coutinho Dean, and I love Commedia. And I have a little troupe called eForenzi, and we are hosting this little event for International Commedia dell'arte Day. So this week, there will be Commedia madness everywhere. And the official day is Thursday, February 25th. So lots of stuff will be happening this week. This is just one of many enjoyable, beautiful things you can participate in. Go to International Commedia dell'arte Day website. Go ahead and Google it. and look for International Commedia dell'arte Day. It'll come right up and you'll see a million, well, maybe not a million, but many beautiful, wonderful, exciting presentations and shows and things that you can enjoy this whole week. So my friends, what we have today from eFrenzy is a panel of experts. And we have with us today Chiara Giussani from Pazzi Lazzi and Catherine Crow from I Sebastiani. And they're going to share some of their experiences of how to keep Commedia alive during this strange time of lockdown and COVID and theaters being shut down due to the plague, which, you know, has happened throughout history.
It's period.
What we're going to do is we're going to talk with Chiara first, and then we're going to show a little video of her work, and then we're going to move on to I Sebastiani and Kat. And also we have some video messages from other friends throughout the world. We have Fabrizio Paladin and a great little video about what he's been doing to keep Commedia alive. I've had the joy and honor to take some of his classes online. And then we also have Ollie Crick, who is a wonderful Commedia practitioner out there in the UK, and he sent us a video as well. So without further ado, let me introduce Chiara from Pazzi Lazzi. I'd love to hear, my dear, what have you been doing to keep Commedia alive?
Oh, hello, ciao a tutti. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Lara, for inviting me today. It's very exciting. So my name is Chiara Durazzini. I am from Florence, by the way. So, you know, I Firenze are particularly dear to me because of the name and their work. But I co-founded Pazzi Lazzi with my colleague Emanuele Capuano and Maya Attia. Emanuele is now in New York and Maya is in California. But we founded Pazzi Lazzi in 2012, and then we have our first show in 2013. And since then we've been pretty active, you know, but of course we've always thought that Commedia is fun and interesting and fascinating because it's in person, like, you know, I think even more than regular theater because, you know, it's very physical, you have masks, you have costumes. So, of course, online is not as easy to show all these wonderful things, especially to show your physicality. And for example, masks. Hello, masks are kind of hard to read on a computer screen, right? However, we decided to try an experiment. So I think, and probably you guys agree with me, Commedia dell'arte has always been, since the 1500s, a way of experimenting, right? So why not experiment probably for the first time ever in the world, Commedia on a computer, through a computer, with a complete different medium. So we kind of caught the opportunity because we were asked to teach a Commedia dell'arte workshop online for kids. So imagine that, imagine that. So the Eddie Baker Library here in Boston asked us to do that. And we were very excited. So I called Emanuele, who in spite of being in New York, now it was the opportunity to work together because we didn't need to be in person. And also I called my dear friend and colleague, Dan Myers, who is a professional Renaissance musician. And he and I teach a lot, work a lot together, and do a lot of shows. So I said, okay, guys, what the heck are we gonna do? How are we going to teach children about Commedia dell'arte? So I have to confess that it was a big challenge. It was a big challenge. We decided not to be live in some parts and to pre-record some other parts. So with better lights, with masks, with costumes. And Emanuele and I, at the end of the workshop, showed a little lazzo, okay, so a little comic routine between Pulcinella and Arlecchino for kids. So at the end of it all, it went beautifully, but it took us, I would say, probably 3 times more work and more planning than if we were to do it in person. Because if we were to do it in person, we would meet one time, rehearse, and then, of course, go to the place and perform the gig, you know. But this took us between editing and rehearsing and shooting the videos, and especially with my English, you know, I'm explaining all the characters one by one, and my son was recording me. You cannot imagine how many times I have to repeat and do another take because I was messing up the pronunciation of something. So my son was like, "Stop, Mom, no, you cannot say that." So crazy, crazy, crazy. But the result was a 45 minutes workshop that was amazing. In fact, our friend Lara, when I will leave, because I'm sorry, but I have another event in a little while, when I will leave, she will show you guys the trailer of that workshop. Another thing that Emanuele and I decided to do, because we said, you know what, it wasn't that bad, that workshop. We should do something else. And we said, but it would be fascinating to ask all the Commedia dell'arte practitioners in the world, and we were a little ambitious, right? To ask them, what are they doing now in quarantine? What are they doing in Italy? And Italy, I remind you, they had a very, very, very bad situation with COVID. So in Italy, where we have so many Commedia dell'arte companies, actors, practitioners, and maybe in other countries too. So we put together these interviews, little bit crazy, okay, crazy interviews, Emanuele and me, and each episode we interviewed some Commedia practitioner. So we had so many wonderful people. Of course, we had the Sebastiani and Catherine and Jay, but also we had Ollie Creek, we had my mentor, Claudia Contina Arlecchino, we had Marco Luli, we had Carlo Boso, we had people from South America, la Mascara, never remember the name in Brazilian, l'Estudio da Maschera, well, I mean, amazing people from Europe, South America, and the US. So now, this is my announcement this Thursday for February 25th, International Commedia dell'Arte Day. We are going to show the best of La Commedia in Quarantena, and I'm going to show you the flyer because Thursday at 4 p.m. ET time, we are going to show the first episode of about 20 minutes. And then we are going to have one same time on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we did what we call a quadrilogy, a tetralogy, 4 episodes in brief, with little spots, little scenes of each one of our wonderful guests. So here is the flyer, and you can see here just a few of them. You know, I would have liked to feature them all, but you know, we didn't have enough space. So again, we have Claudia Contina Arlecchino, we have Didi Hopkins, we have Cristina Coltelli, we also have Mario Pirovano, who is an amazing Dario Fo interpreter. Many, many, many wonderful people. And we have also that wonderful Scapino Theater Company from Israel. So, my friends, this Thursday at 4, we are starting the quadrilogy, the quadrilogia. So, I have to say that we managed well, but there is a lot of work behind it. And I think that my friend Catherine here will agree with me, and probably Lara too, that yes, doing Commedia dell'arte online is definitely possible, and it's even fun, but it needs a lot of planning. It needs,
Yes.
right? It needs, I think, some really good experience and skills in technology stuff, because the Zoom, the YouTube, the live, not live, we are gonna edit, we are not gonna edit. I mean, it's all big questions then that before you actually present something to an audience, you need to kind of clarify. And again, I really think that our dear friends' masks, they're wonderful, but sometimes they don't feel the same as if you were seeing them in person. So you really need to make an effort to find a way, some sort of physicality, which unfortunately for me was very up here. Commedia dell'arte, it's a whole body experience, right? And it's hard. I also taught a few workshops in universities online now, and I had to be in my living room, put the computer really right away, and also move it based on whether I was showing my hips, my legs. We do the parts of the bodies, right, to kind of create a character. But that was hard because the students couldn't see me very well. But we managed. For the students, it was probably something different than having their usual online classes. So, I had a lot of good feedback, but again, lot of work, un sacco di lavoro. What do you think, guys?
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree that there's so much. It's not necessarily that it's so much more work, but it's so much different work. Right? If it were all on me, we couldn't do anything, because I don't know the first thing about Zoom or YouTube or live streaming or Facebook or any, like, I can make the Facebook event and that's about as far as my skills go. So yeah, it's like a whole new skill set you have to develop, or you have to have someone who knows that skill set, which is not me. In the case of E. Sebastiani, that is not me.
Yeah. So that is all for today, but thank you so much again, Lara, and also Catherine, for inviting me. It's wonderful. Let's do it together again someday. Let's get together. And if, Lara, you want to show my trailer, please go ahead, and I'll see you the next time. Ciao a tutti.
Thank
Ciao,
you
Bella.
so much, Chiara.
Ciao, grazie. You're fabulous. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Oh my God, she's awesome. Alrighty, let me find that video that she sent me. I believe I have it. What? Okay. Let's download it. Okay, where did it go? Here we go. Alrighty. Give me just a second. Alrighty. I'm going to share this beautiful video that is her trailer for for the
For the workshop that they
workshop.
developed. Yeah.
The workshop for kids. So here we go. I'm going to bring that video up and share it. Here we are. All right. Here we go.
am Chiara Durazzini and I'm very happy to be with you today and teaching a little bit about Commedia dell'arte. So, what is Commedia dell'arte? Commedia dell'arte is a particular kind of theater that originated in Italy about 500 years ago. And it started as a street theater to entertain the passers-by in Italian streets and squares. Later, it became very, very famous and big. And so Commedia dell'arte theater companies were invited in royal courts to perform for kings and queens all over Europe. So France, Spain, England, Poland, Russia, and Germany, and so on.
Pantalone. Pantalone is the master of his servant Arlecchino. He's a very rich merchant from Venice, northern Italy. He's so rich that he's also stingy and very greedy. He wears a red costume, a black cape, and this is his leather mask. Now, he's so old that he's not 85, he's 374, let's say. So, all these years, way over his shoulders. So he's very, very low, close to the floor. His hands are always counting money, and in fact, he has a little purse full of soldi, money, and sometimes the hands go in the back like this. Now let's take a look at his feet. His feet are open like this, his legs are bent, and he walks like this with little kicks. And now, this is Pantalone.
So the music and the instruments used in Commedia dell'arte were important for three reasons. First, they helped get people's attention out in the street, just the same way the masks did when it wasn't always easy to attract an audience. Second, they helped tell the audience, even if they walked in the middle of the scene, something about the characters and about what was going on. Just like when you're watching a movie, the soundtrack, the music that's going on in the background, can make you think you should be happy or sad or scared or whatever. And third, because in the Renaissance, certain types of instruments were associated with certain types of people, rich or poor, upper class or lower class, nice or not so nice. For Pantalone, I'll play the Renaissance flute. And some of you may have played the flute before, either in band or taking it from a teacher. And I bet it didn't look like this. So this is the Renaissance flute, and you can see that it's made of wood, and it has no keys, just 6 finger holes, and then a 7th one that you blow into. And the flute in the Renaissance was associated with wealthier upper-class people because it had a very pretty sound and because it wasn't that loud, so you could play it indoors, and it was popular for amateur musicians to play indoors. It was also associated with young or attractive people because you don't have to make funny faces or do weird things with your face in order to play the flute the way you do to, say, play the bagpipes or an instrument like that. Now, Pantalone isn't actually young or attractive, but he thinks he is. And he also likes to dance because in the Renaissance, dancing was very important for people who were rich or upper class as a way to meet people. So I'm going to play a dance that was very popular in the Renaissance called a gagliarda, or a cinque passo, and the name of the dance is La traditora mi fa morire.
Arlecchino, Arlecchino, I'm so hungry. Oh, tanta fame, fame, fame.
I'm so hungry too. Too much, too much, too much. So hungry.
I'm so empty. E vuota.
Napolitana, and there are many varieties all over southern Italy. Matter of fact, in Puglia, they often call it pizzica, which means pinch, which refers to the bite of that spider again. There's a lot of different types of tarantella, and that particular one was the tarantella napolitana, so the type of tarantella that's native to Naples and the area around that.
There we go. All righty. So that was Pazzi Lazzi and the brilliance of Chiara and her troupe. I love what they're doing. It's brilliant. And she's right. It takes a lot of work. It's new work, plus a lot of extra planning and rehearsing and taking million takes over and over again. So I love that. And I'm so grateful that she could spend some time with us today. So my friends, let us switch gears to the greatest Commedia dell'arte troupe
In the entire world.
Entire world. And so, Madame, please introduce yourself and tell the people about I Sebastiani. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get up the little video of an example of what
All right. Well, I am Catherine Crow. I am currently the Capocomica, the manager, for what it's worth, of I Sebastiani, the greatest Commedia dell'arte troupe in the entire world. I Sebastiani came to be in about the year 1991. I came into I Sebastiani in 1999. So we are a long established group, and we were developed within the kind of broader framework of the Society of Creative Anachronism, the Society for Creative Anachronism, the SCA, because our founder, Sebastian, which is why we are called I Sebastiani, meaning those who are of Sebastian or Sebastian's people, felt that this would be a great art form to start to look at as a period art form from 16th century Italy. And we tend to perform it as closely as we can to that 16th century style of commedia. So there are certain characters you will see in even Pazzi Lazzi that you won't see in our troupe because they were developed later in the timeline of commedia. But we've been around the block a few times. We perform all over the place. And when the quarantine happened in March 2020, when things really started shutting down, we had actually just performed our Commedia dell'arte Day show live during the last weekend of February. And so we had finished that, and we were starting to think about springtime and what should we do. And we hadn't really gotten anything going yet. And then suddenly there were all these recommendations that you not get together with people. And so we said, all right, well, this won't last long. We'll take a couple of weeks off and it'll all be fine. So yeah, we took a week off, and we took a second week off, and I don't remember if we took the third week off, but we were talking about the third week off. And someone who was not me, I want to say it was not me, said, well, why don't we try getting together on Zoom? Because at this point, we don't know how long this is going to go. I think I need to give the credit to Andy Kobayashi, but if it was someone else, they'll tell me. And I said, all right, well, we can give it a shot. And it was it was great just to see each other. At that point, no one had seen anybody for a couple of weeks. So it was great just to see each other and be together at our normal time when we would see each other and be together. And so we said, well, let's explore. Let's try this a little bit. We have not tried, well, that's for one show we did pre-record and edit. But for the most part, because this is such an improvisational and live art form, when we do perform for the Zoom, we tend to do it live. We don't record it beforehand and then edit it, because it's just not what we are accustomed to doing. We're accustomed to just throwing it out there and seeing what sticks to the refrigerator. So that is what we have done. Our first online show was actually in August. For those of you who are Skadians, which is probably a lot of this audience, you may know that we perform on the middle weekend of Penzik, on that generally the first Sunday of August. And we decided that would be our goal. So starting in probably the beginning of April, we first started rehearsing online, and we said, all right, well, that's going to be our goal. We're going to put together a show for our regular night in August so that our fans who are used to seeing us then and will be sad because there's no Penzik, we can at least provide them with a new show. And we did. So I'm really, really proud of that. There are still a lot of things about Zoom that are weird and difficult. Like, we never quite know whose box is going to pop up where. I know there is rhyme and reason to it in the Zoom. In the Zoom, I think the person who comes in is usually the bottom box, but of course you're always in your top box, so you can't really tell, and it's hard to see. So even just something like what Chiara did, what we saw in her video, where they came in back to back, right? And they bumped. It's hard because you don't actually know whether you're going opposite directions or the same direction. And it'll look really weird if both of you are going in the same direction. So there are things like that we're still working out, but I feel like each show is getting better, which is obviously what we hope for even when we're in person. And so we have produced now, I think 3 or 4 online shows for Zoom and then YouTube distribution. And we have another one coming on Thursday for Commedia dell'arte Day. It will be broadcast live-ish on Thursday at 7. I'd like to invite everyone. I'm going to share my screen for a moment. I'd like to invite all of you, if you haven't yet, to join our Facebook group. If you see this picture, you know you're in the right place. It is I Sebastiani, the greatest Commedia dell'arte troupe in the entire world. If you are seeing this picture and seeing that name, you are in the right place. If you are on Facebook and you join this group, you will always know when things are coming up. We do not have a link yet for the show on Thursday, but as soon as we have that link, it will be on the event, which has been posted from this page. You are also certainly welcome to go to our website, which is isebastiani.com. I haven't updated that one with the event yet, but I will do that either today or tomorrow. So we're there as well. And yeah, so it's interesting. We are trying to find the ways to make use of the boxes. For instance, in several of the period plays, including the one we're going to do on Thursday, which is called The Old Twins, which is from Scala. So it's a period scenario. My character, Flaminia, spends most of the day most of the play in her window. So actually having a box works for my character because I'm supposed to be in those. So I have curtains and I actually sit in a window seat and I have curtains, and for my character, it works out great because I'm not really going anywhere. For the more physical characters, it is more of a challenge, and we keep trying to find new and different ways to make that physical. As Chiara was saying, it's such a physical art form, and it's hard when you can't actually reach out and touch your fellow actor or bop them with a botaccio or hand them an apple or whatever it is you need to do. But we are finding ways to do that. And for those of you who also enjoy Shakespeare, one group that is just doing amazing things is called The Show Must Go Online. You can Google them, The Show Must Go Online. They have now done every Shakespeare play in Zoom. And if you watch them in chronological order, which is how they tried to do them, you will see that they are doing the same thing. They are working out how to make the Zoom look really good and be really compelling. And we've stolen a couple of ideas from them, and I highly recommend them too. Just go and watch your favorite one, some evening, make yourself some popcorn, watch your favorite Shakespeare, because they're really doing an amazing job. I know when they did my favorite, which is the Scottish play, their 3 witches were actually on 3 different continents. So the witches' circle encompassed the whole world. So that's really cool. Do you want me to keep talking, or you want to show the video?
Well, actually, yeah. What I'd like to do next is show the little sample of,
sure, of one of our shows.
One of your shows, one of my favorite bits of yours. And then let's chat a little bit about how you guys have been actually working out the learning process of like making new things happen in Zoom. So we're gonna take a real quick look at the, where did I put it? Here we go, at the Vimeo link I have here. So I have it set up. All right, here we go. Scala Day 3, Isabella's Fortune, with you as the Buratino's wife.
Naughty Buratino's wife. Yes.
Naughty girl.
Dottore!
Yes. Hello.
Dottore!
Good afternoon. It's so lovely to see you. I was planning to come by in a little while.
Were you?
Yes.
Because je m'appelle very angry.
Why?
Je m'appelle very furious that you were bestowing such attention on some French tart who just showed up in town.
Well, you
should know that the local dishes are far more nourishing and delicious than anything you can get out of town and out of season. And Dottore, should you wish to retain your normal spot on my schedule on Friday evenings,
yes,
you will need to make it up to me, because now I am hurt.
I wasn't.
Buratino's wife?
I was just trying to be a little hard. Oh, please don't do that. No, not the fainting, not the crying and fainting. Oh, I hate the crying and fainting. Please, isn't there something I could do? I was just trying to be a little bit hospitable, in the name of hospitality and greater, not greater pleasure. I don't want to say that, but
greater pleasure, Father? What are you doing with this married woman?
Of course not. I was just trying. I'll find a way to make it up to you, my dear. Please.
I suppose I can give you another chance.
Of course.
Assuming your gifts are adequate. Perhaps some nice olive oil. Hello, Flavio.
Oh, olive oil. Oh, olive oil and I go way back.
I feel like I should have been animated by Mark Davis.
I loved that scene so much.
The hair was just one of these random lucky things, because I was trying to put my hair up and this one piece just wouldn't stay in, so it became part of my shtick.
Yes, and yes, hair, and I tell you, je m'appelle very angry. French tart. That just killed me. I love that. So, so tell me just a little bit about how you guys came to that. How do you get there?
Well, as I said, I Sebastiani has been around for a very long time. And most of us in the cast have been playing together for a very long time. So that helps a lot when you kind of understand how different people are going to take their takes on the character and what you can fling out there and what's going to happen. It makes it easier because even with the little bit of Zoom delay, I feel like our timing is pretty good. Because we are used to working together, even with that little bit of delay you get from one computer screen to the other, I feel like our timing is still pretty solid. That was when we did the Shakespeare piece with you, Lara, and Carl and I did the Petruchio and Caterina wooing scene, right? That's a piece that you have to pick up those cues. And to make that work on Zoom, I feel like the reason we make that work is because we just have this long history together. And happily, the people who have come to us fairly recently, like Gary, who was playing Dottore in that scene, have somehow they got thrown into the deep end of the pool, but God love them. They are swimming like crazy, and they have really, they are staying afloat. Thank goodness, because we love them and we want them to stay. So there is the kind of history that we can fall back on. And we are used to that. As I said, we're not pre-recording, right? That's a recording of us doing the show live. And that's, if you were at Penzic and took a recording of us and brought it home to show your friends, it would be just like that. It would be what we were doing in the moment. We wouldn't go and say, oh, well, wait, don't show that to your friends. We're going to edit it and make it better. It just is what it is. And sometimes it works and sometimes, frankly, it doesn't. And that's okay too. Sometimes the jokes are clunkers and you just move on.
Live theater recreation online.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're trying to do it as much like we would do it on stage as we can. Certainly some things are much more difficult, right? Lots of the period scenarios include a sword fight, or at least the threat of a sword fight.
Yeah.
That's hard to do in your Zoom box, right? Yeah. Even the idea of like stealing a kiss from somebody in a Zoom box, it becomes much more complicated. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the physical humor is harder, but I feel like we've done a good job keeping up our linguistic humor anyway.
So tell me something. Do you have any examples of workarounds that you have integrated into your shows?
Yes, we did a show recently in which the bad guy is tricked into giving Arlecchino his shoes, his beautiful shoes. So in the one Zoom box is the bad guy taking off his shoes. I'm going to take off my slipper that I'm wearing now, right? And the two actors each went into their closets and found the pairs of shoes that looked the most alike. So the bad guy can pass, my poor slipper, it's all worn out. I love these slippers. The bad guy can pass the shoe over their camera. And then the recipient reaches up, has it behind their camera, has their version, and pulls it down.
Nice.
So it's a way of passing, if I needed to pass you my Grover coffee cup, right? If you had a blue cup that was blue enough, right, I could pass it to you and you could have, or it's a totally different cup. And that's funny too, right? And so I can pass you my Grover cup and you come back with the gorgeous mosaic cup. Oh, look at that.
Amazing.
So we've worked out some tricks like that that help to extend the illusion, I guess, because everybody knows we're just in these boxes, right? Everybody knows we're just in the boxes, but it helps to just make that happen. I'm trying to think, I'm referring back again to The Show Must Go Online. I think it was their Midsummer Night's Dream, where someone was hiding under their bed, right? They had the camera set up so that it could see them, and you could see you could see the bed, and you could see that they were hiding under the bed. And Puck, I believe it was jumping on their bed. So you could believe that it was the same bed, even though they were nowhere near each other. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to learn and trying to bring in. It's hard when you want Arlecchino to hit somebody with their slapstick or get hit with a slapstick. It becomes more complicated.
Yeah.
But things like we did one where I was being met by the guy who turned out to be the bad guy, and he was kissing my hand, and it went on for a little too long. So I'm pulling back, and he had his own hand.
Oh, genius.
And I'm trying to yank my hand back, and finally, but everybody's got to be paying attention because
that's timing.
The timing on that can be complicated. But those are the kinds of gags we're working on. And I always think of Jim Henson starting in TV and realizing that this is not a limitation, it's an opportunity, right? Because nobody can see what's outside the box. So there can be all sorts of chaos outside the box, but they can only see what's inside. And you can have somebody come in from the side or like Cookie Monster come down from the top, right? Because nobody knows what's outside the box. So I always think of that as well.
Exactly. Like in improv, when you're given a limitation, it becomes a creative opportunity.
Right. Exactly.
I love that. All right. So I tell you what, I'm going to shift to some other practitioners. We've got Ollie Crick and we've got Fabrizio. I really want to share Fabrizio with you.
Yes, let's do it.
But I am also very interested in your take on their messages because they have, very different perspectives. So Fabrizio Paladin is a professional commedia actor, director, teacher, coach, everything practitioner. And I was just super lucky enough to see his advertisements on Facebook for commedia training classes starting last summer. And he created a way to train people in commedia physically in the Zoom box. And I and a handful of other very lucky students got to participate in these. And he's also got coming up on the 27th, next Saturday, a workshop that's going to be a 2-hour workshop that's an introduction to his style and philosophy and all the juicy goodness that he's got to offer. So he shared with me a little video that I am going to bring up and share with everybody. He's just such an excellent practitioner, and I need to set up my little things really quickly. I'm also just incredibly impressed with his innovation. The innovation that so many people are experiencing this past year. He's just the top of the cream of the crop. I am deeply grateful that he decided to go and do the stuff he's doing because I have benefited and I think he's a great model. So here we go. I'm going to bring up his video and share it. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And here we go. Okay, go for it, Fabrizio. Oh, come on. Here we go.
Hello everybody, it's Fabrizio Paladin here from Italy, and I'm a director, teacher, and actor of Commedia dell'arte. And thank you very much, Lara, my sweet Lara, to invite me. So, what was happening from the last 8 March? I was very relaxed in reality because of the job, you know, because anyway, I'm used to keep some times for me, you know, for study, for writing, for taking my time to fill up my body and brain with ideas. And then I wanted to do something physical, so I started to take one passion that I have, and it's building mask. And now I show you where, in the night of 8 March, I was going to keep myself alive, and I was making some direct online in Facebook of me making mask, and now I show you the place. Come with me. Adesso c'è un po' di confusione qua dentro perché è da un po' che non mi metto a fare. Ow! There is a little bit of confusion here inside because it's sometimes that I'm not doing masks, but here you see, this is my wood matrix, and that's the result. And I was working on this table and also spending my time rehearsing some hat tricks that I really love. We have to pass to the second subject of this interview. What's gonna happen next? And here we are again. Have you seen? Have you seen how much fast I am to make these stairs? How fast I am to make these stairs. Non puoi tagliare. Then I decided, after like 2 months of making mask, that I wanted to do something physically. I decided to make private lessons online. And then one of the students were pushing me a lot to organize a workshop, so I was thinking to do that just for 2-3 people maximum. And it was real successful, and Lara knows a lot about that because she were there. I had to change my mind for how to put in a matrix what I'm doing, you know, like to put a new frame. It's impossible to go over like 8 hours like I'm used to do that when I do live. So I was closing the time like 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, 3 hours maximum, and not too much people. And then some other people were asking me for a workshop online, different organization, not my company. And so I was teaching for Lapas, Loyak, that is theater in Kuwait City, and I had 8 students, and so, but I had 10 days for 8 people, 3 hours per day. In that case, I could do that because all my workshops were like on the weekend, like Saturday and Sunday. I had to swim in that new sea. And in reality, what was going on is it was for me to explore a new way to transfer concepts that are physical, to transfer it to the students. And in that case, all my studies, theoretical studies, philosophical studies, all the disciplines related that I have studied in the university were the real salvation for my teaching, because I could explore also with the minds of actors that sometimes you don't do it so much when you do it live, because live you can perform and so everything comes out and you have the evidence of what is happening. Sometimes with video the problem is this, you know, the distance between people. some technical problem, of course, also. Stanislavski, Grotowski, the studies of the crew, Barba, Coupeau, Artaud, that was giving me the exact instrument to keep on with the research of the theater with the students in a way that was not sacrificed like it could be in the mind of a person that says, well, that's online. How can you do that? So I think books help us to this, no? Because that book that we read now, we are not close to the author, no? There is no, but his thoughts arrive until to us, no? So it's a trip that we do with the time with books. Okay, and with the net we make a trip with the distance, but we are always far, but in some way we communicate. Okay, I hope that was inspiring or funny for somebody. I don't know if all this made sense, but this is the best that I can do without a Google Translate on my brain that immediately. If you wanna try the method online with me, on the 27th of February, inside the celebration of the World Day of Commedia dell'Arte, there is an interactive online workshop directly from a very nice theater here close to my house, Teatro Binotto, and it will be there from 3 to 5 Italian time, so for you in America will be from 9 to 11. And I will explore with you in detail the philosophy of the method, and if you want to join, you will have a taste, and then we will have a longer workshop in March. So see you there, and follow me on my channels to know more and good news.
I love this guy.
That was marvelous. One thing, what he said, that he needed to swim in the strange sea. I feel like that's where we're all at. We either need to swim in the strange sea, or we're not going to move anywhere during this time, right? And we'd like to keep moving. We'd like to keep growing. We'd like to keep innovating. I was struck by how much what he said went back to what Chiara said about trying to teach physical things in a screen and not being able to say, oh no, move your arm a little like that. You're right. You're not there like a yoga teacher, right? I've taken some yoga online during this time, and it's difficult because you don't have the teacher like, oh, just push your hip in just a little bit, because they can't really see, right, what you're doing. Hopefully exactly. I haven't hurt myself too badly. But it's difficult. It is. And we don't want to make light of the fact that it is difficult, but it can be done. It can be done.
Exactly. Glass half full. We can do some great things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can tell you that Fabrizio's classes were mwah. I have very few words other than like awesome, brilliant, excellent, genius. They helped me genuinely improve my movement through the Zoom. He had excellent examples. He had little training exercises, and then he had little challenges for us to then encompass and portray the character. And we handled like 1 or 2 characters per session. Mm-hmm. And the sessions were 2.5 hours Saturday, 2.5 hours Sunday. And I met some amazing, beautiful, wonderful people there. I have a new friend named Nicole, who's up there in Italy, and she's just like my new best friend. She's awesome. She does clowning, and was exploring Commedia, and she's just growing just the same as I am. So the way that Fabrizio was able to transfer his teaching into the Zoom box was genius to me, and I feel like I benefited so much from it. And so I also really, really hope everybody, hears that he's got a little mini workshop, a little 2-hour thing. Hi, Preston.
Live.
Maybe a fan in the background. The Fabrizio's Saturday workshop for 2 hours is a taste of what he does. And then he's going to offer later in March a longer workshop that's like 5 days with a few hours every day, like a deeper dive. So I encourage anybody who possibly can go take his workshop on Saturday.
And it said it was our time, East Coast time. It's 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep, that is it. So that is a cool thing. Now there's one other video I want to share, and that's from Ollie Crick.
Yay, our friend Ollie.
Ollie's so awesome. So here we go. He has a message for us to stay enthused. I just need to get the little buttons to work correctly. And I need to share the correct thing. Okay. And here we go. Ollie Crick. Here we go. All right, let's see if I can make this happen correctly. Here we go, Ollie Crick.
Hello, Laura. This is Ollie Crick, speaking to you for International Commedia dell'arte Day. And the question you asked me was, how on earth do we keep Commedia dell'arte going during lockdown? Well, just here are a few of my thoughts. One of the most interesting things for me about Commedia dell'arte is that it is a combination of actual performance, which has its own set of guidelines, and historical or contemporary research in how it was done and why things are funny. So although we can't get on with plenty of live performance, we can keep our research minds bubbling over. And there are, compared to when I started getting interested in Commedia, a hell of a lot of books on Commedia. My current pile next to me needing reading, this has just come out. Commedia dell'arte, Its Structure and Tradition, Antonio Fava in conversation with John Rudlin. Nice little cute Routledge one. Read that. This is very interesting. And a very old book that's come out, which I particularly like, by an old American academic called Jackson L. Cope, called Dramaturgy of the Demonic, Studies in Anti-Generic Theatre from Rosanti to Grimaldi. And there's an Edward Gordon Craig Arlecchino's mask stuck on the front of that one. So that's quite good. Sorry, my book piles are so large that whenever you move one, whole pile other falls over. What was the cultural context that Commedia dell'arte grew up in? Well, you keep having to refresh yourself. So I've got Heretics and Heroes, How Renaissance Artists and Reformation Priests Created Our World, by an Irish writer called Thomas Cahill. That's come recommended. Because Commedia dell'arte happened on the continent and Shakespeare and his mates happened in England, then there is a very strong relationship in the material aspect of performance, as in there were no inside lights. All of them were performing within the Renaissance using more or less the same cultural, historical cultural influences. So reading more about the actual conditions of performance in Elizabethan times and the mechanics of a playwright's work is, again, feeding more information. This came recommended. It's very good. Stanley Wells, Shakespeare and Company, in which they talk about Marlowe, Dekker, Johnson, Middleton, Fletcher. and other players, less interesting people. This came out a few years ago. Got a terrifying title: Semiotics and Pragmatics of Stage Improvisation, by Domenico Pietropalo, who runs a tight little commedia research outfit all the way up there in Canada. It's about commedia improvisation. Don't let the title fool you. And yeah, that's very interesting. So this is actually researching or putting a semiotician's point of view on how on earth they did manage to improvise there back in the day. What else is lying in the pile? Scenarios of the Commedia dell'arte, the first one by Flaminio Scala, translated by Salerno. It has a few, about 5 or 6 chronic translation mistakes in it, which I don't know what they are, but apparently there's there. And chronic mistakes is a technical term rather than a term of abuse. Pete Jordan's book, The Venetian Origins of the Commedia dell'arte, very interesting. Talks a lot about the way the aristocracy tried to keep control over Carnival, which is quite important because they realised that Carnival could be a source of political dissent and bad behaviour, so they would kind of sponsor it in a particular way in order to keep control of the mad peasants or whatever. Always worth reading. Always worth reading. A Treatise on Acting from Memory and by Improvisation, 1699, by Andrea Perucci. Perucci was a Neapolitan lawyer, but we don't think any worse of him for that, and was writing possibly about 150 years after the golden age of commedia improvisation when the troops were happened. So there is a historical gap, but if you imagine that someone's writing about the way things were done in theatre about 50, 60 years ago, so he's got a knowledge of how it was done and is giving his aristocratic or reading public clues as to how the greats used to do it. So it's very much worth reading. Again, it's the premise that each actor carried with them their own text and suitable speeches that were available within their minds or within their zibaldoni, within their books of best material they kept very closely to themselves, and to use them as appropriate when live on stage. Research, so all of those should give you good dramaturgic clues as to how to do it or just keep you enthusiastic. What else can you do to keep comedy going? Make masks. Okay, leather is a bit hard for some of us, but papier mâché is good. Papier mâché is good. A couple of years ago I did a really good course with he's based in Denmark near the Commedia School, Denmark Commedia School, John Finbar Ryan. He studied with the Sartoris, works with a Berlin-based artist called Petra Forenbach. Simply white papier mâché on a female mould. This is a version I made of Harlequin. And what their thing is you underpaint it. So there's a whole series of colours you put on to bring up the highlights and stuff, which makes it different from leather. And then you coat it with a layer of bitumen substance, substitute or bitumen, to give it another dark in a leather feel. But it gives it a very different coloration from a leather. They're not as flexible as leather, but this is, I'm not going to go on about making leather because this is just a brief thing about keeping your spirits up and still doing commedia during lockdown. If you've got any good ideas or you come to some conclusions as to an intellectual fact that people might have missed or the other academics have missed or you've missed, blog about it. Start a commedia blog. Start a communication. talk to people. Well, this has been fantastic for me, the lockdown, in a way, because with all the actors and performers in Commedia not out there performing, they're bored too, so they end up, chatting to to each other. So I started a little group that we met every 2 weeks online, which I'm not doing now because I'm busy with something else. And it was like ask me anything about Commedia. So it became a whole series of conversations about Commedia. And you don't have to be an expert or kind of be hierarchical about it. So this is Commedia. It's a discussion. There is a historical fact, which are still disputed because of the mysteries and the past of history. Nothing can be certain. And we are interpreting it. Everybody is an reinventor of Commedia who tries to get on stage and put it on. So it really is a question of how well you're doing it. So you can always feed your head with more information as to how to do it. But as long as you can think about it, these are not facts, these are things that can be interpreted and must be part of your dramaturgic method, which is the intellectual support for why you're on stage, and it gives you the information to perform. So remember that if you're performing Commedia rather than just being an actor about Commedia, the information you're looking for is stuff that gives you clues as to how to do it and what to do. Yes, it's keep talking to people. Take acting classes, surprisingly enough. There's lots of acting online classes happening as a thing to do. You can never go wrong if you're a performing Commedia by improving your acting. Watching a few Commedia things online, what I became, especially on Zoom, what I became suddenly fascinated with was the stillness of the mask, and then actually the profile of the mask. So if you're doing lots and lots of little movements around here like this, it doesn't work. Your camera on your PC or your Mac is the eye of the audience, so you focus on that. Oh my lord! And then something's off stage. There it is. React. Give to the audience. Okay, and keep still and speak. So I guess it's carry on reading, carry on researching, make masks, blog about it, share, stay fit, do your physical isolations. If you want to be extreme, remember there's two kinds of training always in theatre. There's very specific training for the genre, so it's mask technique, but there's also keeping your body in good nick anyway, so that's just any degree of flexibility. So if anybody wants to give themselves some extreme challenges, look up Meyerhold's etudes on YouTube and just try and copy them. It's like extreme yoga as devised by expressionists. It's great stuff. I don't do it, by the way, so I'm just suggesting it as you to do. Well, maintain enthusiasm, I guess, is my sign off. And support other people. This is a fundraising T-shirt from the Tutzani Theatre Company, based in New York. So here we go. Say Commedia is good, and it's outdoor theatre. So excuse the yawn. Wish you all a very happy International Commedia Day, and stay enthusiastic, stay training, stay reading. Try and look for ABE books or support your local second-hand bookshops rather than putting more money in Jeff Bezos' pocket to send more satellites into space, which really we don't need. Health and happiness, comrades, and keep on producing viable, relevant, and local Commedia dell'arte.
Oh, that was marvelous.
Great stuff from Ollie. Oh, that's awesome. So I have some thoughts, but what do you think?
I'm thinking that what he said actually reminded me a lot of Fabrizio's. The name of his workshop on Saturday was Commedia Tradition and Innovation. And that's kind of where we're all at. We are inspired by the tradition. And as Ollie said, there's no fact to it, right? We're all interpreting something that we don't know what it really honestly looked like. We have our own way of doing it, but we're all kind of enmeshed in the tradition, but we are innovating as well. And this is just one way to innovate. Using the Zoom boxes is just one way we are innovating. And I loved his advice that if you are in a group that's not rehearsing right now and you're feeling kind of glum about it, right? Read a book, make a mask, that you join a group, read a blog, that there are things that will feed your soul, even if you can't be rehearsing right now. I think that's great advice.
Exactly. I got to tell you, I have been amazed at how my growth has just kept going, because now I'm just shifting my energy to reading and soaking up what I can online, watching all those great Shakespeare videos from that group. What was the group you said?
The show must go online.
Such good stuff. And, keeping up those things that we can do. I loved everything he said. I mean, those are good book recommendations. And I got to tell you, I got to add some of those to my pile.
Yep.
And,
go back and look at that and freeze frame the titles. Yep.
Yeah, I might be able to go back and write out what those things are and put them in the comments.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. And mask making is always fun and time consuming, and you do it at home by yourself, right? So
Absolutely.
that fits. And acting classes. Oh my gosh. I have loved the acting classes I have gotten to take. By the way, I learned how to rap.
Good for you. Good for you.
I took a class.
One of the kids asked me the other day, like, Catherine, can you rap? I was like, no. No, don't make me do that. No, I'm an old white lady. It's not fair. There are lots of good rappers out there. Don't make.
But the point is, the example is, so many crazy classes are happening online now. You can learn to rap even if you're a little white girl, and you can expand your life into all sorts of cultural learning to soak up whatever's out there. So also there's here in my hometown, there is a group called Back to One Acting Studio. They've been producing acting classes that I don't have time to take, and I'm like, this is genius. Accents they're teaching.
Oh,
dancing for actors.
That's great.
Building character as an improviser.
Mm-hmm.
So Back to One Acting Studios here is doing it. I just haven't had time to take any of
we should put all of the different links we've mentioned in the comments so people can just click on them and go there.
I will. I'll organize all of that. So there's that. And also improv practice. You can always get together with friends on Zoom and do that. Our good friends Egenesii over in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
they've been doing that.
Good.
And I have heard that that's the thing that they just keep doing. They keep getting together on Zoom and having improv play practice just to keep their energy going and keep their chops up.
Good.
By the way, I just want to mention they also did a recorded show of Commedia using puppets.
Nice.
So funny. Such good stuff. Such good stuff. And I tell you, the improv practice I have really enjoyed. I have a little group of friends that we get together, maybe about once a month, and we do improv practice, and then we do a show. It's like a live streaming thing, and we promote fundraising links for good causes.
Awesome.
Just to kind of add a little aspect to it. So we keep our chops up on improv.
Mm-hmm.
And half of them are Commedia people. So
yeah.
So there's just so much good stuff you can do. And oh my God, I got to tell you, the thing that hit me like a little bit of guilt when Ollie was saying it is stay fit.
Yes. Keep your physical self in shape. That is really good advice, because when this is over, because it will be over, we'll say when, not if, when this is over, and we all can get back into our physical spaces again, we don't want to twist an ankle.
Exactly. No twisting of ankles. Take care of your knees. Take care of your lower back.
Absolutely. Imagine you're in physical therapy. Keep everything moving.
Yeah, so many people have had a hard time with that. So devoting time and energy to keeping yourself physically fit is good all over, but will especially support your Commedia habit.
Absolutely. Work your core.
Work the core. Gotta work the core. All right. Well, I tell you what, we've gone over time, but I'm so glad you
have
could
gone
stay.
over time, so we will let all these people go.
Yes, and so I just want to say thank you 1,000 million times.
Oh, you're welcome. This was super fun.
Always a pleasure. I
Mwah.
miss you. Mwah. And so I'm going to wrap this up, and I will definitely take some of those links and things and like put it in a little text and put it in the comments. And the whole rest of the week, good stuff is happening. You got
That's right.
Fabrizio's workshop on Saturday. Lazzi is publishing their thing on Thursday. And remind everybody
Thursday at
what
4. Isa Bastiani Thursday at 7. So you can
Thursday
do
at 7.
Lazzi, have some dinner, and then come to Isa Bastiani.
It's gonna be a great day.
Happy International Commedia dell'arte Day, everybody.
All right, I'm gonna shut it down. And done there. Okay, and